Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Francesco from Fleshgod Apocalypse. How are you doing? Everything good on your end?
Yeah, very cool. I'm resting a little bit after a couple of tours in America. We did all America, North, Central, South, everything. So we did that, and then we did the first festival this Saturday. We played the Metal Italia. It was a great festival. It was very crowded, so awesome. We played some new stuff from the new album. It was exciting. It was very, very cool. And now I'm, having a little bit of rest.
I don't know about the rest part because I've seen some pictures on Instagram and you're climbing mountains. So
yeah,
is that therapeutic for you? Like, is that a way to zone out and just enjoy the nature?
Yeah, it's my passion. It's my mountain. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of mountains. I'm a big fan of winter sports. So I love skiing, ski alpinism. I love climbing, and so now it's a perfect time frame to go up to the mountains because it's not that snowy. It's cool, and yeah, I love it. It's my way to find my peace, to balance with my professional life, which is very, very hectic and busy and stressful sometimes, and that's my way to find myself, to be a little bit more relaxed and have a connection, have a link with the nature, which is great. So that's the way to me.
Yeah, definitely. But you gotta be careful out there. There's been a lot of news about people running into trouble, especially at Everest and those big mountains. So you gotta stay safe out there.
Yeah, that's a different approach to mountaineering. My approach is a little bit more wild, a little bit more, let's say, easy. I'm taking it easy. I'm not, looking for big peaks or like very high peaks or very big, let's say, climbing, experiences. I'm just, want to be part of the nature, to be a little bit more, linked and connected to nature, and I try to enjoy it without any risk. I take it easy, and also I have this.
Oh, that is a way of staying safe.
Yeah,
that's definitely a way of staying safe. Now, talking about mountains, let's talk about Veleno, because I really feel like this record right now sits on top of the mountain above all other records.
Thank you.
I want to start by saying congratulations on this album because it's absolutely magnificent. When you guys finished recording, did you feel that you had a very special record on your hands?
Well, when we finished the album, yes, and yeah, well, it was a mixed feeling. I mean, we were aware that what we were doing was great. Like, it was great sounding, production wise was great. The songwriting was very different than the other times, and also the first people that listened to the music were going nuts. They were like, okay, you wrote the best songs, you wrote the best singles. We this like super positive feedback from the very beginning that made us think that we were having like probably the best album in our hands. But when you release an album, you always have this, as I said, mixed feeling. You are happy with what you're doing, but at the same time you are guessing how people is gonna like it, if it's gonna work or not, if they will like the new paths, the new experience, the new which experiments that we put in the album, or they will just print, say, oh, this new stuff is too much maybe. So at the very beginning we were like, we don't know, we just did what we like. That is technically what we try to do every time we write music, just we want to please ourselves first. But the feedback, man, the feedback was massive. It was unbelievable. We were playing a song, Fury, 4 months before we released the album, and the people were going crazy live. Like, I've seen people flying on that song. So you realize that what you have in your hand is something more, because even if it's just the live experience giving this kind of emotions, this kind of as this kind of impact to the people, that imagine what's going to happen with the album, and technically it happened, because we're seeing now like a feedback which is out of proportion. Is everything is, all the reviews are like top reviews. We are top album in many webzines. We got covers for the first time, never happened before, and we hit many charts, and for the first time as well. So it's massive, it's great, and we cannot, we couldn't ask for a better start for this album cycle promotion, and we are super happy.
Yeah, normally when I do the reviews, I don't rate the albums. I don't like to rate the albums. I feel like it's hard to put a number on art. But when I listened to this album, I was like, this is like 12 out of 10. Like, I mean, there's no rating possible.
Oh, thank you very much for that. But for real, it's nice. It's like, their review sometimes is a matter of taste. Sometimes the very professional ones are more like analyzing the music for what it is. Like, they make like an examination, let's say. But the taste is always there. And getting this worldwide, from all the viewers is crazy. I mean, like, how is that possible that everybody loves it? We got like 2 or 3 out of 200 reviews with a negative feedback, which is crazy. So I cannot explain it. I mean, like, I don't think that is that different from before, but maybe for the people it is. Maybe we found with this songwriting wise is the same people. And me and Francesco wrote all the music, so always the ideas. I was always behind the creative process, so my mind is still the same. I'm growing older, I'm more experienced, whatever, but I'm not having these crazy ideas now that I didn't have before. But there's one thing that I think that is the key, that could explain a little bit better, and is the fact that this album is the right balance between two worlds, which are the orchestral symphonic part and the metal part. We always try to find the proper balance, the right balance. And if we sometimes we made it songwriting wise, but we failed with the production. Some other times the production was there, but maybe we didn't write, we didn't compose, and had the right balance, the right mix up front in the pre-production, in the music. This time I think we got both things. We wrote right, and we got the right production to express at its best this music. So I think this is the key for these people. This is they say, okay, they found their own way. Finally, they are mature. That's mature is one of the most used words in these reviews, which means that we achieved the point. We finally did that stuff that everybody was waiting for, and it took us some years because it's very complex in our music. It's very complicated, and it took time to be enough experience to find this balance. And let me say something more, because I speak not that much. Let me say something more. For us, it's not an arrival point anyway. Even if everybody's happy, it doesn't mean that we stop. This is the starting point. This is okay. Now we found a balance. From now on, we have to be better and better. We have to grow as musicians. We have to grow as songwriters. We have to study more. We have to work more on this aspect, because just because we found a way to communicate properly our message artistical wise, then we have to take it as a starting point and work more to, you know, give the best to the people because they deserve it, and express ourselves as artists at our best.
I felt that, and you mentioned a little bit about it. I felt that this album, more than perhaps the others, had a lot of layers to it. I actually compare it to a lasagna because there's just so many different layers to it. In your mind, yeah, I thought it was a fair comparison. In your mind, when you have this idea there, how do you transfer the idea from your brain then to the music that you're performing? Because there's so many moving parts, the guitars, the drums, the orchestra, everything.
It's a complex process. It's much more chaotic at the very beginning than what, you know, you could expect. I mean, it's very chaotic at the beginning. We when we start writing, especially with this album, that we took this different method to write, because before, what we were doing was like taking a break from touring, and then we were composing all the music in the same time frame. So let's say we take 6 months to write the album, and then you write the songs, you know, all together, all in a row. So it was it's a decent time frame to compose 1 hour of music and work on the arrangements or whatever. But still, you are very focused on the album, and after a while you start copying yourself. You start going over and over on the same ideas, you know, and this leads you probably to have a little bit to lack a little bit of diversity in the album. So even the dynamics in the albums are a little bit more static, let's say. But for this album, we did differently. We collected the ideas, and I go back to your question. We collected the ideas, and it was super chaotic. So sometimes it was a riff, guitar riff. Sometimes it was a piano part. Sometimes it was a string part. Sometimes it was me singing under the shower a melody. Sometimes it was me, you know, thinking about a theme, a subject to treat in a certain lyric. Sometimes it was a drum part, and we collected all this material for almost over 2 years, and then only at the very end we discussed and picked the best ideas. We, you know, we made a selection of these ideas, and when you realize that a certain idea has an artistic value, then you take it and you start working on it. So it's not that important to have a method to build the music, because the method is always the same. It's very important to get if an idea has a potential. When you understand that an idea, whatever it is, has a potential, then you start working, and that work is more about having skills, it's more about experience, it's more about competition, it's more not competition, to how to translate it, it's more about skills, ability, you know, that you learn in your time, and that is pretty much way more. There is no, I'm not saying there is a formula, but it's the easiest part. You know, the hardest part is to understand if that you sing under the shower can become a song that has more than 7 million views on the internet. You know, that thing is the very complicated thing, and the message. Understand if the music can carry a message together with the lyrics, can underline, can give a bonus to the lyrics, because in the end it's also poetic. And a song like Sugar, which is a song against heroin, it has to give you the idea of something pushing a syringe, you know. Then you have to underline this thing with the music. It has to be oppressive. It has to remind you that kind of motion, that kind of thing, that kind of feeling, that kind of vision, you know, that idea, the picture. And if you can portray that picture with the music, then you win. So it's we started with a guitar riff, and then we started working, give an evolution, and try to underline the lyrics with the music, and that's the way we work. So very chaotic at first, and then very structured, very methodic later. So that's how we deal with the music. It's a very long answer. I'm sorry, but it's I think a good way to explain how we work, because otherwise you think we are just crazy, have all these inputs all together. It's not like that. We work on layers, but we have no method to start working on these layers. It's chaos, and then you organize the chaos. That's it, pretty much.
From this album, there's one song to me that stands above all others, perhaps how I connect to the lyrics of the song, and that's Mona Lisa. I have two questions for you about this song. First question is, do you have a Mona Lisa in your life, or have you had a Mona Lisa in your life?
No.
And the second question is, before the solo, there's a stretch there that when you're singing, it almost sounds like Mike Patton from Faith No More in the song Midlife Crisis. Was that done on purpose, or that's just how that specific portion of the lyrics, just how it came across? Because the moment I heard it, I felt like I was listening to Mike Patton.
I was trying. Yeah, let's start with the second part of the question. No, it wasn't meant to to remind anybody. It was just I was trying. We were thinking to do. We had in mind to do a different song because we wanted to experiment, as we always done in the music. So we wanted to do a song that had a little bit more gothic vibe, just because we wanted to underline this kind of lyrics, and we used this genre, which is gothic metal, and we tried to take all the aspects, all the characteristics that could fit with the music of Fleshgod Apocalypse, and try to use it and try to reverse this characteristic into our music. And so when we had the song structure, the main parts, we decided to experiment with the vocals. So we were like, why don't we try new things, new stuff? And we did this layered vocals, and even if my English is not the best, we thought that they was sound very good, even if it's almost like a clean. And we were like, why not? And then some other people listen to the song and say, this is great. You can sing in different styles. Let's use it. Why not? And so that thing was it wasn't something that we planned before. It was in the studio trying out some different options, and in the end the most exotic, let's say, option was the one that convinced everybody the most. As for the first part of the question, if I have a Mona Lisa, I said no, because if you read carefully the lyrics, the song is about love, but it's also about venom, because venom and poison is technically the concept of the whole album. And we are treating different subjects that can be metaphorical or less metaphorical. Some of them are like pollution. It's not that metaphorical. It's when you pour venom, poison into oceans, into nature, you are exploiting nature resources, without any kind of longevity. You are technically poisoning the environment, and they are technically self-destructing, because it's where we live. So it is a metaphorical metaphorical way to talk about the self-sabotage that it's operated by mankind. But that specific song is about love, and how love can become very easily something very violent, something very dangerous and sick. And so that's why the Mona Lisa represent the possession. Some people just think that love is possession, but it's not. Love is freedom. And we wanted to talk about this. Even the most beautiful feeling, even the strongest feeling, even the most important, it inspired art for centuries. Love, can become the worst nightmare all of a sudden, just because there is no respect. So there's no love without respect, and there's no love without freedom. So I don't have anybody that forced me to live a relationship being without somebody that something else than who I am. My wife loves me for who I am, and that's great. So it's not my Mona Lisa, and I really hope that everybody can find in his life somebody that really respect yourself as a human being for what you are, without expecting to be something else, trying to turn you into something else, and sometimes trying to violate your freedom, your liberty to be who you are, to think what you want to think, to say what you want to say, to evolve as a human being in the way you want to do it.
Well, I got that kind of feeling from the lyrics of the song. I really connected to it. I felt that the song, to me, at least the moment I listened to it, was about love, but love gone bad. And love can be poisonous, because love could make you do things that otherwise you wouldn't do. In a negative way. So that's why I really felt the connection to that song.
That's the point. Yeah.
From this new album, you already performed some of the songs live. Is this a record that creates perhaps new difficulties for you guys to transfer the song from the studio to a live setting, or you felt that it was a smooth transition?
That's a good question. These songs are a little bit more complex to play. They are more tricky, a little bit more difficult songs to play technical wise, but the result, the output is better than the one before, I think. So it's they are a little bit more, they requires a little bit more practice, a little bit more attention when you perform them, because there are a lot of things going on which are technical wise, as I said, a little bit more tricky, but at the same time they are songs that when performed live give you the idea of the album 100%. They are they sound very close to the album. They sound very massive. They sound big, huge songs. And that's why even if we perform some songs as Fury before we released the album, the people went crazy for that, because it's a song which is very easy to understand immediately. Like at first, it's love at first sight, and that's great. And we performed already even a fast one, which the fast ones usually are the trickiest ones, the most complicated to perform live. For many reasons, we did Worship and Forget last week, and it was great. And we performed Sugar many times. We are going to perform Mona Lisa very soon. We have under our belt a song like Carnivorous, and we would like to perform that song as well, but we need time, and usually we didn't do we don't have much time at the festivals, so we are going to play some classics as well, so we don't have enough time in the set list to perform all these new songs. But I think at the Grass Pop we're going to play Sugar for sure, and probably Mona Lisa, and then just to try new songs, one by one. And so that's it. There are songs that live have give you like a good, they're good live. They sound good live, and that's it.
and speaking of live, I saw you guys in Toronto when you guys were on tour with Hypocrisy. And
Cool.
at the time when I did my review for the concert, I said that perhaps you guys were the best live band that I've ever seen. I want to change that to you guys are the best live band that I have ever seen, because you're able to transport the studio sound into the live performance. You almost don't feel, I almost felt like when I was there that I was listening to you guys perform it within the studio. It didn't feel to me that you were live. So you're really able to capture the essence of the recording in the studio and then just bring it live with such perfection that it's really hard for the audience to notice even a drop. Is that something that's really important to you guys to stay true to your sound and bring that same sound into the live shows?
Yeah, it's very important because people that attend the shows want to listen to the songs that they listen to regularly on regular basis on the album. So we try to, with all the difficulties that we can encounter, it's every day is a different PA, it's a different club, it's different, hall. So sometimes it's very hard to, it's not just up to us. I mean, like, we try to do our best to to play as good as possible, to perform the songs that we recorded in the studio the closest as possible to the studio sound, and also to try to, while playing, give an extra entertainment to the people, because our live show is not just music, it's also, we try to treat the live concert as an experience for the people. So we the goal is to people back this idea, not just, the band was tight and listen to good music, but also had an experience that I will never forget. Give me chills, to give me the feelings. That's what count, and for us at least. And so we try to deliver and perform the songs as close as possible to the album sound, but also try to give something more on the visual side that gives you an additional, an extra, let's say, a bonus artistic value to the performance.
You guys live become almost our sugar. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I can't get enough. I can't wait to see you guys live again, because it was my first time seeing you live, and you absolutely blew me away with the overall performance. It was just absolutely incredible. And if you're looking at getting the fans to get that experience, I think you're doing it in spades. And that takes me to my next point, which is, you've pretty much have done everything: the drums, guitars, singing. Where do you feel more comfortable?
The position that I have right now is probably my position, is the place I belong the most. That's why I started like this. I started as a guitar player, as a singer, and then circumstances led us to different solutions. Being a death metal band in Italy is not that easy. Have drummers that are motivated from day one, that want to do this for a living, are not too many, and they are very busy. And back in the days, it was even worse. So we decided all together to move to drums and try to do it by myself, because we all believe that the drummer position was very delicate, and we needed somebody that really trusted and wanted to do it for real, to have some kind of success and to turn a passion into a job. Problem is that something that we expected to last like few months, it became years, and then we just have to stick to the thing. I'm not saying that I didn't feel good. In that, I'm very thankful for all the fans that supported me as a drummer, and I still had the opportunity to write the music in the back, and it's what I wanted to do, to write, compose music, express myself as an artist. So it was just a compromise to play drums live. But to be honest, 100%, what I think is that the feeling to write the lyrics and then knowing while writing that you are going to sing, though there is no you and the audience, it's the best feeling for an artist that is mainly a songwriter. So for me, it was a big difference. Now it is a big difference. I feel way more comfortable. I can treat subjects that I didn't treat before, because as I said, I didn't want to have somebody to speak for me. I just wanted to talk about my stories, think about my things, my fragilities, my fears, my issues in a metaphorical, in a poetic way, whatever. But still, it's my stuff, and I want to think about my stuff by myself. I don't want somebody else in between. And although Tommy was a great frontman, was a great performer, was a great singer, I never had the ability, the chance, the possibility. It never, came up to my mind to write about myself and let him sing about it. It's this is an opportunity for the band now. So as I said, the lineup change in some way it was tough, and it is tough because we miss the guys, because we are very good friends still. But it's understandable that they wanted to change their life, and it's a blessing for the band because I could came back to my position, and now I can express myself 100% in the studio and live. So I think it gives an extra touch, and we can feel it from the people, from the feedback. So I think part of this new success is the fact that the band is way more solid than before, and that we can go wild live because everybody feels comfortable in his role, and this is a great feeling.
Like I said before, you've done everything: drum, singing, guitar. When will you introduce the piano into your repertoire of instruments? I feel like that's the one that's missing.
I'm lucky to work with a guy that is super talented as a piano player. I just regret that we didn't start together. In some way, I'm proud of an album like Oracles, but at the same time, I really wish we could start together from day one, because actually we started together, but at the very beginning, as I said, that there were no conditions, also economical wise, to make it. So the guy had a good job, and everybody has his own life, and seriously, we wanted to invest all our time in the band, and he couldn't do that. So it took 2 years more to have him in the band since we started properly with the band. So I'm very lucky to work with him now, and I don't need to learn piano or so it's
You have enough on your plate.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're covered. You're covered on the piano.
I'm good. I suck enough with my instruments. I still have to work on my stuff before moving to another one.
I have one more question for you. Now that the album is out, will we see Fleshgod Apocalypse return to North America for perhaps a headlining tour in support of this new record?
For sure, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a special show.
Wow, I'm really excited now.
Yeah, it's gonna be something different from before, and we never tried this yet, but we are gonna try it. We're gonna start working and experimenting with this new production in the festivals this summer, and even if I'm not gonna spoiler anything, but I can say that next year, early next year, we're gonna come back, and it's gonna be a massive tour. It's gonna be super different, and probably we're gonna set the bar higher as live performer, and that's great. And it's great to start doing that from North America, which is one of the countries that loved us the most from the very beginning, that gave us the opportunity to become who we are now. I can tell you now because the results are going to come out next week, but we charted very, very high in the Billboard this time. We always doubled the sales of King, and